Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for joining me. Hi, I'm Edie Nathan. I'm a psychotherapist in New York City, and this is our fifth day of Facebook Live. I'd like to welcome any newcomers, and again, if you've got questions or comments, please message me. I can see these messages coming up on the left-hand side of the screen. So if you've got any thoughts or questions, just let me know what they are. And if we don't talk about them today, we're certainly going to continue having these discussions every day, even over the weekend, every single day for I don't know how long. Maybe the next week, maybe the next two. I'd love to hear your feedback about what you need more of and what's hard about this time. I just actually got out of a conference with some friends, and we were talking about what gets in the way of us being present, of us being maybe our best selves, or what is scaring us right now. And there were a variety of things that came up. One of the things that we discussed, which I thought was just so interesting, is how we might be going to our younger selves in communication with family members, even if we're parents, that we're responding more in a childish way, or maybe we're having more upset or agitation with our partners, or even with friends from across the wavelengths, all of our different ways of communicating, whether it's FaceTime or Zoom or WebEx or Skype. So, it's just so curious that when we get afraid, and we have a lot to be afraid of, and we can sit in that fear or not, but when we get afraid, sometimes we go back to our younger selves. And to identify what is that younger self really needing or wanting, communicating to that younger self. So I put that out there just as an intro. I'm thinking about all of you out there, and I really hope that you're learning about yourselves, and that you're also taking time to maybe enjoy not having to run around, not having to be someplace, not having to be on 24/7, and that this is an opportunity. Oh, it's such an opportunity of curiosity, of mystery, of hope, of dreams. And maybe you always wanted to be a writer, or a public speaker, or an artist. So what would stop you from actually gathering the tools that you need to do something creative? Even if you wanted to learn how to bead, why don't you do that? Why don't you construct some time in your day for your curiosity and the mystery of curiosity to unfold? We are living right now in what is called a liminal space. Liminal. I don't know if any of you have ever heard this term. It's a term that I've certainly played around with a lot. It's certainly not my term. It's an ancient term. But what it means to be in liminal space is that you've left something, you're at a threshold, and you don't know what's next. And we are in this liminal state, not knowing what's next, not knowing what next even looks like, and we may not even be able to imagine it. And what's curious, and I'm certainly not a Buddhist, but in terms of Buddhist thinking, and what so many meditators talk about, is the idea of being in the moment, being in the here and now. And we live in a culture, and there are many cultures like us, where we're just always going and moving and doing, and I got to go get to this appointment and that appointment. And now all of a sudden, we're not moving, we're not going. And maybe the appointment that we need to have, just a thought, is the appointment with the mystery of ourselves. Is the appointment with the threshold that we're facing. And one of the wonderful things about this time, it could be a gift. When I'm talking about grief and loss and trauma, I often also look at how does grief, how does trauma, how do the losses in our lives bring us gifts. And when I was 27 years old, I lost the love of my life. He was the love of my life then. And it was one of the hardest moments in my life because he taught me about love. He taught me how to love. He taught me how someone could just see me and revel in me, and that I could then revel in myself. And then he died. Because of what he taught me, before I was ever with Paul, believe it or not, like I was going into the corporate world, I was going to be a corporate trainer, and I was going to talk about drug abuse in the workplace, and that's what I was going to do. And therapy was not on my timeline at all. But because of the lessons he taught me and the realization that we were ill-equipped to talk to, handle, help a 27-year-old woman deal with the loss of a loved one, I said, you know what? We need to have this conversation. We need to be talking about grief, and grief as it happens around the loss of a loved one, grief as now this pandemic grief. And so in this pandemic grief, as we are facing the chaos of this virus, we also get a chance to be curious, to slow down, to learn the mysteries of ourselves. And it is being in this liminal space. So I'd love to hear what you want to learn or you think you've learned so far being quieter, and how the quiet or the social distancing has been affecting you. Inherently, we do need people, even if we're an introvert. Introverts do have, one or two peeps, who they rely on, who they love, who they care about, who care about them. So this is a point of vulnerability right now, being in this liminal space, this space of threshold. One of the things that over the years I've done with my clients is I actually read children's books. So today, as we're in this kind of threshold space, and I don't know how long it's going to last, I thought I'd read to you the monster at the end of this book. Do you know it? Because it's a wonderful little book. And I'm going to pull it up right now. And I'm just going to read it to you. And please tell me what you think. The monster at the end of this book. And it was written by John Stone. And though you don't see the illustration, it's a wonderful little book, and it's illustrated by Michael Smolin. What did that say? On the first page, what did that say? Did that say there'll be a monster at the end of this book? It did. Oh, I am so scared of monsters. Shh. Listen, I have an idea. If you do not turn any pages, we will never get to the end of this book. And that's good because there's a monster at the end of this book. So please do not turn the page. You turned the page. Ah! Maybe you do not understand. You see, turning pages will bring us to the end of this book, and there's a monster at the end of this book. But, this will stop you from turning pages. See, I'm tying the pages together, so you cannot turn the page. You turned another page. You do not know what you're doing to me. Now stop turning pages. There, I, Grover, am nailing this page to the next one. So you will not be able to turn it, and we will not get any closer to the monster at the end of this book. Ooh, clonk and bling and bonk, and he's banging everything into place. And he's so frustrated. All right. Do you know that every time you turn another page, you not only get us closer to the monster at the end of this book, but you make a terrible mess. This will stop you from turning pages. A heavy, thick, solid, strong brick wall. That's what I'm going to build. I would just like to see you try to turn the page. The page is turned, and the building keeps the building continues to get built. And then it comes down. Do you know that you are very strong? The next page is the end of this book, and there is a monster at the end of this book. Oh, I am so scared. Please do not turn the page. Please, please, please. Well, look at that. This is the end of the book. And the only one here is me. I, lovable, furry, old Grover, am the monster at the end of this book. And you were so scared. The end. Do you know why I read that to you? It's one of my favorites. You see, so often we are the ones that get in our own way. And in this liminal time where we are facing thresholds and we are facing the unknown, you can go deep, deep into your fear. And it can feel like you have a monster inside of you that just wants to eat away at you. But you know what? You don't have to let that monster be a monster. That monster could actually turn you into a person of curiosity, willing and wanting and hungry for the mystery of you to unfold. So today, I hope that you will talk to the monster within you, tell the monster to calm down, and partner with your monster, and allow your monster to come up, talk to the monster, and then say to the monster, you know what? I don't think I need you here today, but I'm really glad that you're around to let me know what I might be needing to work on or think about. And you will get more information by being curious by finding that creative self, whether it's, again, writing or journaling or doing something creative with your hands. And I hope that today and tonight and tomorrow morning, you talk to your monster and you be good to you, and you speak to at least 3 people today in whatever way, whether it's writing a snail mail letter or FaceTiming, just connection. We need connection. So thank you so much for this connection. And remember, you've got the power and you've had it all along. See you tomorrow at noon, and can't wait to hear from you. Bye.